Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
This is your host, Alicia Debrell from Insight Media. Today, I get the privilege to interview Sherry Swift. Sherry is a leadership expert known to deliver explosive energy on the platform, coaching, training for entrepreneurs, and emerging leaders. Sherry has recently hit the #1 spot with her new book, Grow Into Yourself. Sherry is the president and CEO of Swift Transitions. Swift Transitions offers coaching programs that are tailor-made for individuals, companies, personally and professionally geared toward moving them from where you are to where you want to be. Sherry is also an influential speaker on business leadership and professional development. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Sherry Swift to the show. Hi, Sherry. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Alicia. It's fantastic to be here.
This is going to be fun. So can you tell me a little bit more about your background, where you come from, and your business experience?
Sure, Alicia. I am a licensed, certified coach and trainer that is the president and CEO of Swift Transitions. Swift Transitions focuses on helping individuals, companies, firms, and people who are focusing and functioning from a production perspective, like salespeople, to go from where they are to where they want to be. I'm a licensed realtor, and I've been a licensed realtor since 1999, so probably about 45 to 50% of my customer base is realtors and brokerages, and I work with mega teams and individuals who have big businesses that are looking to build teams that will be sustainable and that will be maintained even beyond their interest in participating in the real estate business themselves. I also work with industries that focus on consultative and customer service experiences. I come into companies every day and help people to identify from a behavioral perspective who their customers are and what their behavioral types are, and then help them to identify who their employees need to be in order to meet their customers at their expectations. So we focus on everything from sales production to customer service training and preparation to individual coaching and performance coaching to help people hit their personal and professional goals.
No, that totally makes sense. I actually want to talk about, you have a #1 best-selling book called Grow Into Yourself. What made you want to write this book?
I have coached hundreds and hundreds of people in my practice, and as many wonderful coaching conversations as I've had, I can only have so many one-on-one coaching conversations where I have a humbling, tremendous opportunity to impart and impact other people's lives. Look, this project for me was really my opportunity to reach out to so many more people and to impart into such a greater group of people and to help them through tragedy, help them through decision and transition. And, it's all about making a decision about where you want to go and dealing with all of the challenges that you face in the process of going from the place you're in to ultimately ending up in the place that you want to be. So the book for me is basically a project that will allow me into the lives of so many other people that I otherwise may not have had the opportunity to fold out into.
No, that makes sense. So could you tell me, what are the top 3 things you would want somebody reading this book to walk away with?
Initially, I'd like for everyone to understand that, number one, it all starts with the decision. The decision that where you are is simply not okay. It's not satisfactory. It's not the ending point. It is not acceptable. This is not your ultimate goal. So everyone kind of needs to start with a decision that there's something else for them, whether that is personally, financially, professionally, from a health perspective. No matter what the decision is, it starts with the mental adjustment in your mindset that something else better is there for you. Number two, I'd say that I want them to walk away with the understanding that this is a process and that you have to be prepared to let go of how you look temporarily in order to transition into who you're supposed to be. So often we put so much energy and effort into making sure that we look a certain way. We put so much energy, effort, and quite frankly, performance into how other people see us. And this presentation has a tendency to interrupt and stunt our ability to grow into who we're supposed to be. So I want people to put down the perception that other people really care anything about what they're doing and what they look like, and allow themselves transparency so that they can blossom and bloom into who they're supposed to be. You know, put all of the smoke and mirrors away so that you can actually become who you're supposed to be. And then finally, I want them to walk away with the fact that this is a process. This is not an overnight thing. This is a process, and all growth happens from the inside out. You have to deal with yourself internally before you can manifest anything externally. So you really have to begin, this is an inside-out job, and you have to begin with sometimes some of your mindset issues and some of the baggage that you're carrying around. And very often that baggage has to do with other people and other things and secrets that we're holding for other people and, you know, issues and tragedies that have happened in our life that we've never confronted. These are very often things that keep us from transitioning and becoming the person that we're supposed to be. So it's a process, and accept that it's a process and it's not going to happen overnight.
Do you have a number one best-selling book? Do you have plans for more books in the future?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm writing right now as we speak. So, you know, there's a lot in there, you know, and I'm sure you know that it's once you peel the onion back on that first layer, they just keep coming and coming. So I'm really excited. I'm actually working on something right now.
Nice. Well, I'm sure I will definitely be excited to hear about it when it's ready to go. But I would like to kind of switch gears, and I would like to talk more about your coaching and your training, the Swift Transitions Company. Who is your clientele? Who do you work with on a consistent basis?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are a coaching and training firm, and probably about 40% of my practice is real estate related. So I partner with brokerages and individual mega agents and teams. I'm talking, you know, $20, $30, $40 million in production. And these are people who sell a lot of homes, high volume performance. And I focus with these people, these entrepreneurs that happen to be salespeople, in team building and production and script and dialogue and systems and tools. And we help them to build businesses that are sustainable and that will actually outlive their desire to perform inside of the business itself. Another big part of my practice is just individuals who are entrepreneurial, so they have a business, a lot of startup businesses, and I supported several coaches, actually, Alicia, so people who are starting coaching businesses or have coaching businesses, so anyone who has an entrepreneurial effort and business, I support their business, and I coach with these people on a one-on-one basis. We also go into companies from a consultative perspective, so when I have someone that calls us in and they say that they're having a bit of a gap from a customer service perspective, like maybe a title company or a mortgage company or, a insurance company, and maybe they've received a few surveys that have been less than fantastic. So they'll call our firm in and we'll come in and find out where the gap is. What we very often do is we'll perform and do behavioral disc assessments on the majority of their staff. And then I hold a very extensive class that focuses on identifying behavioral and personality types in individuals, who you are and who your customers are, and how we show up in our customers' lives so that we are actually treating them the way they want to be treated as opposed to treating them the way we want to be treated. So, our service aspect of what we do is kind of all over the spectrum. We serve people from a consultative perspective. We meet with you to find out what the need is, and then we basically will pull together and conform a product that basically matches what it is that you need, whether it's service, performance, production, growth, personal or professional.
You have so much passion about what you do. What made you want to become a coach?
Well, certainly, I can tell you this. It was not. Someone asked me when I was doing an interview just the other day. They said, "Is this something that you wanted? That you think that you wanted to do? Was this something that you decided to do?" And I kind of chuckle every time someone says that. I believe that coaching and training, but especially coaching, is purposed work. I believe that you have to be an individual who is truly, truly interested in other people. And I believe it's passion and purposed work. I believe that it's something that is very close to almost having a calling to it. And I also believe that it's reputable work, it's certifiable work. So if one is looking for a coach, it needs to be someone who has invested their time, energy, and effort in receiving the type of training and coaching and certification that one would need to receive in order to produce the type of service that we are so proud and humbled to be able to produce for our clients. I love my work, and I think what you hear from me is just the excitement. Even though I've been at this now for 2 decades, just the excitement for working with individuals. And every time I meet somebody new or go into a new firm or a new company, it is fantastic to watch it to evolve and turn into what someone's vision is.
No, and it totally comes out. It definitely does. You can tell how excited you are about it, and how every new, person you work with or organization, like you said, just brings a new light in your eyes, and it's a new thing for you. And I love the passion. So tell me this. Why do you think the top reasons are for either an organization or an entrepreneur, or maybe it's real estate, maybe it's not, but why do they contact your organization and hire you?
They call me, those who know me and those who refer me, and 70% of my business is referral based. They call me the Velvet Hammer, and some people call me the Pink Hammer. It is because I am very, very high on accountability, follow through, system, and performance. If an organization or an individual is serious about seeing a specific outcome, I am the person to help you to get there. I am the person that's going to ask the right question to help someone, help an organization, help an individual, help a team to identify what it is that they want. And once these people have identified what it is that they want, I then go into overdrive and commitment to ensure that they are going to reach that desired outcome. They give me permission to hold them accountable until we hit that goal. I am completely and totally committed to that outcome, and my clients know that, and I'm just really thrilled and humbled to have such a great referral-based business where people say, if you want to get it done, call Sherry and her team, call Swift Transition. They will support you all the way through it. And I also believe that when certification matters, when time on the job matters, and people, and when references matter, and they can go to your website and study and find out what other people has had to say about their experience with you, I think that we provide a pretty consistent positive feedback in that way as well.
Not only that, but you're very straightforward, you're very direct, and there's no miscommunication when speaking to you. So I think that's extremely important in a coach.
Yeah, I'll tell you this about when you're trying to partner with a coach. When people come to me, I don't match everybody, Alicia. Everybody's not my client. So I'd like to start by telling people, when you are interviewing a coach, and you should interview coaches when you're about to hire someone to come into your life. A coach is a very personal, intimate relationship. And you need to interview this person to bring them into your life or into your firm, into your organization, to help you to actually bring to life a vision that you have for a business. You need to interview the person. And when you are interviewing that person, you need to make sure that they are a match for your behavioral type, and they are going to give you what you need. And when you say that I'm pretty direct and I'm pretty firm and there's really no question as it relates to what I'm trying to communicate and what I expect from people, you're absolutely right about that. And I realize that I may not be the match for everyone, but I am the match for the person who says, I want to get there. I am not looking for excuses. Now, with that being said, there's a necessity for a balance between care and candor. And I completely understand that. With over 20 years behind me in this industry, in my business, I understand that things happen in life. Back in 1994, I had a tremendous tragedy that happened in my life, and I lost my parents 3 days apart. I talk about that in my book. That was the thing, Alicia, that created in my world who I am today. I tell people that was the day that I was born. That's the thing that happened, that changed me and turned me into Sherry Swift and made me who I am. So I do understand that things happen in life, and that there is the necessity to have people around you who know how to demonstrate care when you are having a moment, when you are facing a challenge. And they need to also know when to help you to get up and not stay in the weeds and to move forward, because everything that happens to you is actually happening for you. And we just need to figure out how to make it part of your story so that you can use that thing for leverage and become a better version of yourself.
I love it. So tell me this, if you had one piece of advice for somebody that is looking to take their business to the next level, what would that be?
Hire a coach, and I'd have to say, can I have two? Can I have two pieces of advice? How about that? Because one of them is hire someone who's going to hold you accountable and support you to your goals. And then number two, surround yourself with people who are where you want to be and who are like-minded in your goals and in your efforts. You know, unhappy people can't be happy for you when you are growing and changing. So it's very important to surround yourself with people who are doing the things that you want to do, who understand the language that you are speaking. If you are an entrepreneurial spirit, don't hang out with people who have corporate jobs. They don't understand your grind. They will never understand it. Find people who do what you do. If you are someone who, is opening up a child care facility and you love babies, then you probably want to hang out with other people who love babies and who have child care facilities. And, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And that one thing alone should make some of us pretty nervous, though.
Definitely. So tell me this, how do I know that you're the right coach for me?
Well, you don't. And so that's why I said it's very, very important that you interview and that you vet someone that you're thinking about partnering with. When someone is thinking about going into partnership with Swift Transition, what they do is they reach to my firm, and my operations manager, her name is Tina, what she will do is she will send them a pre-op intake consultation questionnaire. And it's going to ask a lot of questions. It's going to ask a lot of questions. It forces this person to sit down and think about, why is now the time for coaching? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What is most important to you? Tell me. And it breaks down, who they are from a financial, spiritual, emotional. It just breaks it all the way down in probably about 10 to 15 questions. They then turn around and send that completed questionnaire back to my office, and I have the opportunity to review it. I am then probably going to take a 10 to 15 minute conversation with that person where we will talk about whether or not we may or may not be a good fit for one another, whether this is an organization, whether this is an individual. We'll take the time to decide whether or not we would be a great partnership, and that's how you would find out. And yes, I've turned people away. I have figured out that I'm not going to be your best match, and I do have wonderful people around me, and so I'm happy to refer some of my really super qualified peers and friends that have been in the industry for a long time if I'm not the match. It is so important to meet your match because this is an intimate relationship.
Agreed. So, okay, so let's just say you meet that match with a client. How long do you typically work with them?
Well, my agreements are 6 months at a time. And so no change happens overnight. So we go into agreement 6 months at a time. The average length of time that I stay with a client is probably 3 to 4 years. So 3 to 4 years is right about the time that we hit that spot where maybe they don't hear my voice anymore. My voice is too familiar now, and it's now time for them to move on to someone else's voice that might be able to change that. And there's a lot of coaches who won't admit that and who don't practice in that way. But, it's just like, it's almost like having a child. And, children can live with you, Alicia, for so long until they don't hear your voice anymore. Okay.
Oh, I know that. I know that. I got that memo.
Yeah, right. So something happened, and all of a sudden they don't hear your voice anymore, and so it's time for them to move on. Well, it happens like that with clients as well. When they've been with you for so long, they can have all the trust in the world and trust you and love you, and you've taken them as far as you can. So, but my average relationship is 3 to 4 years, and my smallest contract, minimum contract is 6 months, and we get nothing done in 6 months most times. Most times, it's a minimum of 1 year.
Okay. So how do I know, how do you measure that it's working? How do I know that if I sign a contract with you for 6 months, a year, or whatever it may be, how do I know that the process is working?
Oh, your life is changing. Well, and there's a couple of different type of agreements that I go into with my clients. And it's a huge difference. If it's an organization, I may be going into an organization once a month. Okay? If it's an individual, I may be sitting with an individual once a week on via GoToMeeting or webinar or Skype or sometimes on the phone. And if they're local, we'll be meeting face to face. If it is a team, I may be meeting with the team twice a month. And when the in-between time that we're, from the last time that we met to the next time that we meet, you feel the growth. You feel the growth. There is absolutely no question to growth when things are changing. You can see it. You can see it. You can feel it. And it's kind of like when I said to you that all growth happens from the inside out. When you begin to change individually, when you begin to change from a mindset perspective, when you see things differently, when the light bulb goes on in your mind and in your head, where all of a sudden now you can see that all of these things are available to you, you know that it's happening. You know that it's working. Now, with in that same thought process, if you're with someone and it's not working, you know it's not working too. You know it's not working. So I tell people when they call me and they say, well, I've had a coach, it wasn't great. Okay, well, tell me about that process and tell me, do you believe that it was because the coach was missing the mark, or do you believe because it was because you guys weren't a good match, or do you believe it was because you just weren't ready for the relationship? Because sometimes it's that. But if you were coaching with me, you would know that it's working because you would feel the growth. Growth, you can feel it. You know it's happening. It doesn't sneak up on you. And the beauty of coaching is that you are going, whether it's week to week, whether it's once a month, you are going on and on and on with accountability to your coach. So if you tell me, Sherry, I'm going to do this or this, and then you show up in a meeting with me next week, I'm going to ask you, did you do this? And when the answer is, well, no, I didn't do it, we're going to get behind, well, tell me why. Well, let's reassign it. Let's try it again next week. I see you next week. Did you do this? Well, no. Well, why? So eventually we have to deal with, why aren't you moving forward in this opportunity? Do you really want this? Sometimes in coaching we truly discover that maybe what you think you want is not what you want. And we figure out and determine that there's something else for you, but you know that it's working.
Coach is not a magician. A coach can't make your entire life change. The person who wants the coaching, who believes in the coaching, has to do the work in order for it to work, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, you heard me say some people just aren't eligible. They're not ready. They're not ready for the relationship. So for my team, a really big part of the intake process is that consultation and that intake questionnaire, where we are trying to determine, are you actually ready for this process? Are you actually ready for this process? Because, all growth happens from the inside out. You've got to be ready for the growth. You've got to be ready for the change. You have to sign up and agree to make the changes.
Okay, so you talk about a consistent ROI. Now, that sounds really, really great to any person that's an entrepreneur or a business. But what do you mean by that, a consistent ROI?
Well, we all know that there have been probably many things that we have purchased for quick fix, especially from a corporate perspective. When I go into organizations and companies, and they They buy the quick fixes very often. This is the system that we need. This is the tool that we need. This is going to fix everything. And more often than not, unfortunately, they find that that's not the fix. It does not provide a return on investment. It just doesn't. It seemed like it was going to work, but it didn't provide the ROI. When I say that my team and I provide consistent ROI, what that means is that there will be a consistent, identifiable change in you, in your organization, in your team, in your culture, in your performance, in your productivity, in your net dollars. All of that, you will see the consistent return on investment. You are investing in your coaching. And if you're invested and investing, you should see a return on investment. And that's consistent with my team. We hold ourselves accountable to that.
That totally makes sense to me. So tell me this. What are 2 or 3 things that somebody can start implementing immediately to start changing the direction of their business?
I believe that one of the best things that anyone can do for their business is to bring in a consultant. I think that whoever is the team leader of the organization, whoever is the team leader of the group, whoever is the leader, the manager, the entrepreneur, the owner, whoever is the head person, to bring someone in from the outside that offers an outside vision and perspective, and to have a real out front, honest conversation with that person and allow them an opportunity to ask you hard questions that help you to think the way you need to think in order to change things. That is a huge step for anyone. When you sit with a coach, it's not something that should take 2 or 3 days to hit you. If you sit with the right coach after one conversation, you should know, oh my goodness, I have things that can be implemented right now. This makes sense. I understand what I should be doing. The light bulb should start going on right away. So I would say that if someone wants to change things within their organization, within their individual business, they need to, within their personal growth, they need to sit with a consultant, sit with someone and allow someone from the outside to impart into your life. That's huge. And then I would encourage that if you're not in a position to be able to do that right now, buy my book, because my book, Grow Into Yourself, a lot of my clients who read my book and have participated in this journey with me, their feedback was, Sherry, this book feels like my coaching process with you. This book feels like I'm sitting with you. It feels like my growth process with you. So if you're not in a position right now, whether it's organizational or whether it's individual, that you can partner with someone, go invest in this little book. And, we made it, very small intentionally so that you could work through it. It's also a workbook. So, at the back end of the book, Alicia, there are opportunities to answer questions and to assign accountability to people in our lives in order to help us to move through these things. So if you can't sit with someone right now and you're not in a position to do that, minimally buy my book and begin to move through that book, and then reach out to our team, because we have many opportunities coming about as it relates to workshops and so many opportunities. We have an online course that'll be coming soon, and we have so many things different ways that you can access our team to help you to get to where you're going.
No, and I totally agree. And not only have I read the book, but I have seen it hit number 1. I've seen it be on Fox and NBC, ABC. The book is incredible. It's a workbook. I completely agree. Because there's a lot of people out there that do need the help, but necessarily can't afford the services but you can afford to go out and buy a book and educate yourself and then contact, Swift Transitions, because you do have a lot of different options no matter where a person is in their journey.
And that's the goal for us. That's the goal. The goal is to be, approachable. And again, that was the whole point of the book. The goal is to be approachable for many people on many different levels. And we are just consistently stretching out our content so that we can cover more territory. Yeah, I have a very special place in my heart for diversity and inclusion as well. So we go into organizations to talk about the need for diversity and inclusion and, making sure that we are treating everyone in the environment with respect and respecting the differences in individuals and in groups. And all of this is addressed in my work in the book. So I encourage that, if you're not ready for the big conversation, go get the book and then reach to my team so that we can find out what we might be able to craft just special, just for you, just for your team, so that we can meet you where you are.
So I would like you to maybe clear up maybe one myth or misconception that people have about hiring a coach, because there's many of them.
Okay. I think that probably one of the greatest myths for hiring a coach is it's expensive. People think that coaching is expensive, and they think, oh, it's expensive. And I've always kind of chuckled when people thought, oh, it's expensive. I don't know what the cost of success is, but what I do know is that anything that I want, I am willing to pay whatever I need to pay to get to it, right? And if there is a reasonable cost that can be connected to hiring someone because you're worth it to help you to reach your goal, then the cost becomes irrelevant. The cost is only an issue when the value is not present. I think another myth is that people think that they can do it themselves. So they think, oh, I'm very disciplined and I can do this myself. I don't need the help. I can do it myself. I'm very smart. I can do this myself. Alicia, I have 3 coaches. I have 3 coaches in 3 different areas of my life. And it's not because I don't understand coaching. It is because I do understand the value of coaching. It really doesn't matter who you are. What you need to understand is that anyone who has ever done anything at a very high level and has ever experienced success at a high level in any area, they have been partnered with someone who has held them accountable and helped them to push through to their next opportunity. Coaches help you to find the next best level of yourself, to find the next best version of yourself. So if you are already sharp, your coach is going to make you sharper. If you're already on track, your coach is going to help you get there faster. And if you've already got a great team, your coach is going to help you to grow them to become better, faster, stronger. So if you're already on track, then that's fantastic. Let's get you a coach so that you can become the next best version of yourself. And if you're not on track, what in the world are we talking about? And why don't you already have one? So,
hey, if Tony Robbins has multiple coaches, then guess what?
Absolutely.
So should everybody else.
Absolutely. Yes. Give yourself permission. You deserve it. You deserve
Definitely.
it. Everyone deserves the opportunity to have somebody to focus on you and your growth. Who wouldn't want that?
Most people need it because when you're in it, you can't see it, if that makes any sense.
It makes every drop of sense. You're absolutely right. It's impossible to see it while you're on the inside of it. That's why doctors don't operate on themselves, right? And that's why they don't even operate on their family members. The reality is the closer you are to the situation, the less likely you are to be able to really see the opportunity in the situation. So, I want people to know another myth for coaching is that it's for the weak or it's for people who aren't strong. I want you to know. I know, exactly. I mean, these are all myths, and it's like, listen, I need you to understand. People deserve the opportunity to have someone who is focused on their goals and their success. And when you give yourself permission to assign someone that responsibility and to go through that journey with you, you are going to hit your target faster. You are going to hit your goals more consistently. It's going to be sustainable. And then guess what? Now you can help somebody else along the way. But you can't help anybody else until you get to where you want to be.
Exactly. And I have one more question. This was an incredible interview. I love your passion. I love how extensive you are and everything that comes out in your voice. But I have the most important question and my last question, and that is, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, maybe it's an organization, maybe it's an entrepreneur, maybe it's that real estate agent struggling, maybe it's somebody, just an entrepreneur that's starting a new business. If they want to get a hold of you, how could they go about doing that?
I want to encourage everyone to, first of all, visit our website. You can find us at www.sherryswift, so that's SherrysWift.com. So definitely feel free to go to the website, learn a little bit more about who I am, what I do. You'll have an opportunity to find a few clips of me teaching and training there and find more information and testimonials and programs offered. But most importantly, if you are interested in having us to come in and to consult with your team to find out how we might be able to pull together and customize a program specifically for your team's desired growth, you should reach to us at either at sherryswift.com or team at swiftbusinessgroup.com. We would love to hear from you. And then finally, Alicia, the phone number is 248-719-2400.
All right, guys, you've heard from the #1 best-selling author who has the #1 best-selling book, Grow Into Yourself, Sherry Swift, a leadership expert, an amazing coach, and somebody I personally look up to on a daily basis. And this is your host, Alicia Dubrell from Insight Media. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.